Welcome to my first Q&A. Now, before I get started, you may notice that my audio quality is a bit on the downside, but that is for the very reason that I am not able to record with my microphone because of technical difficulties at this moment, so be advised. So our first question comes from AnimeFan1371, and it says, Law of Gaming, what was your first 360 game you played, and are you getting Battle of Z? No, I'm not getting Battle of Z, and I'm not going to play it for the Xbox 360. Okay, stop. No, you're taking the attention away from me. You're supposed to zoom in on my face. Okay. No, it doesn't have the same effect. Now that I've answered that part, I'm going to answer the first part of your question, which is, what was the first Xbox 360 game I played? Now, I feel kind of cheap saying this. It was the game I got that actually came at the time with the original deluxe edition. It was a game that came with the Xbox 360 itself. It was Lego Indiana Jones and Kung Fu Panda, the game. They were back-to-back. It came in the same disc case, and that's what came with the Xbox 360 at the time. So obviously I would play it before I could actually get games that I wanted to or that I had an interest in. So there's the answer to that. So this next one comes from the Donovan137. It's actually a really long and deep question. I might give a little too much personal information. I'm not sure if this is okay, but it's very deep. It comes from the Donovan137. He says, "Where's the trigger?" And the answer to that question is, here. This is a very interesting question I found from Christopher Gomez, and he says, if you had a superpower, what would it be and what would you do with it? This was a question that really got my attention. I would definitely have to say super speed. A lot of people would say flight or maybe even super strength, but I say if you can't hit what you can't touch. I just think that super speed is so cool because really, here's a fun fact. You have what's called an altered perception, meaning you either, sometimes if you run really fast, it looks like what other people see. You're just moving at the speed of lightning extremely fast. But an altered perception is when you actually see everything else going slower than you.
See, you thought the world was slowing down. You were going so fast, it only looked like everyone else was standing still.
If I was fighting, say, theoretically, a guy with super strength, I would obviously win because I would run around him just so fast. Him punching to me would be like... And I would just be like... And actually, I'm not going to say, oh, I would use it to fight crime, and I would use it to inspire people to war. No, that's not what I would do. You have to be honest. If you got a superhero, the first thing you would do would definitely not be fight crime. You know that you just run around the world like a freaking maniac, like the Flash, and then later, when you finally got the hold of your powers, you would play some pranks on people. And then maybe stop a few 7-Eleven robberies or two, but that's it. Now let's move on to the next question. Now kidding his gameplays, I mean Andrew Garfield, he gave me 3 questions. He says, question 1, if Superman fought Goku Super Saiyan God, who do you think would win? Listen up, you freaking DBZ purists. I understand that in the death battle, Superman won. Okay, get over it. They're not gonna just make a freaking alternate ending just to make you crybabies, dare I say it, happy. Okay, I have to admit, I was a Dragon Ball Z purist, meaning I was just for Dragon Ball Z. If anyone beat a Dragon Ball Z character I like, I would just nerd rage all over the place. But that's because I didn't know any facts. I was just a Dragon Ball Z fan, didn't like anything else at the time. So when I saw the death battle, I was like, how could Superman beat him? He's Goku. Goku can't lose. But now that I'm a lot more unbiased, and I like both Dragon Ball Z and freaking everything ever superhero comic related, then I actually learned about the facts, and so I learned Superman would win. He's as strong as a god. He's beaten gods. Okay, Super Saiyan God. Yes, okay. Pretty much everything that Goku did in Battle of Gods, Superman could have done. There's even this one scene where they're literally flying through the city at super speed. That scene was a complete ripoff of Man of Steel. I'm not even, you cannot say that they didn't see. Okay, here's a fun fact. Goku was actually pretty much the Japanese version of Superman. but Superman actually goes easy. He's this much of a Boy Scout. He'll go easy on people if he doesn't think they stand a chance. That's how nice he is. But if someone like Goku comes up against him, he'll just give it his all. But if Goku like threatened to destroy Earth or something, I don't know, Superman would just go ape and just beast mode and destroy him. But let's be honest. Do you really think these two would have any good reason to fight? They both fight for the same thing. Unless you've seen the death battle, there's like nothing that they could do to actually want to kill each other. They fight for the same thing, like I just said. So on that note, go to question 2. He says question 2. What has a better controller, Xbox 360 or the PS4? For me, it's the Xbox One. Well, Kenny's gameplays, I'm gonna have to disagree and say the PS4. For one, it's an upgraded version of the PS3 controller, and it has a touchpad that has a built-in button system. It has a motion sensor with a PlayStation Move technology. Freaking lights that turn on whatever if you're a good guy or bad, it knows. It also has they changed the controls for firing to actually use the triggers. It's pretty much PS3, but they took out the crap of the PS3 controller and added the good of the Xbox controller. So it's pretty much the ultimate controller. Despite what everyone says, I think the Xbox controller, it sucks. His third question is, who is the funniest YouTuber of all time? Probably you. Yeah. Alright, so this next comment comes from Alex Pondler. I hope I said that right. He said, are you ever going to play DBZ Raging Blast 2? I already have. Oh, watch this. I'm gonna... Alright, you can click that. Click this box. Click this box right now. If you click this box, it'll take you to my last Raging Blast 2 video. Click it right now. Click it! So yeah, now that you've got your fill of Raging Blast 2, let's move on to the next question. So this one comes from multiple people. It comes from the Awesome Boy and Binu Gaming. Now I bunched these together because they were more or less the same. They had to do with the same concept, how to make good videos, I guess. The Awesome Boy says, can you show us how to do funny editing like the Batman trailer you made? I'm assuming you're referring to the Arkham Knight show trailer I made, which is actually a sequel show to the Batman Arkham Origins show. Yeah, now that I've cleared up what Arkham Knight show is, the next question comes from Binu Gaming and says, how do you get subscribers? Now, I bunched these both together because they both have to do with how do I do what I do, and I'm going to answer that. I am soon going to make a video of how I make all my videos, but not giving away my deepest secrets. So stay tuned for that video. Now let's move on to the next question. For this next comment, ignore the first part. It was in response to a different comment I made, but he included the question in this comment. So a Loyalty Flash says, who or what introduced you to the gaming community? Well, I'm glad you asked. Ow! Oh, not lying. I just hit my finger on the freaking eye. Ah! Ah! The things I do for you guys. There's two answers to the question. I'm going to tell you what introduced me to games, period, and the gaming community. Now, what introduced me to games themselves was this bad boy. The Game Boy Color. 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 Now, the game I have in this boy I actually got it a long time ago, and it's been like a treasure ever since. This is the game I have one in green, but I got it after this one. This is the first one I got. I have another one in green. Like I said, it's the Game Boy Color. I have all the colors are listed here. I have the turquoise and the neon green, which are both on here. The neon green one, I kind of like the looks of better, but I just kind of like this one because it was the first one I got. The game I got in here is actually Spider-Man. Let me see if I can focus the camera on there. So as you see, it's Spider-Man. Now, if we insert it in here, I'm just going to show you guys what the game pretty much looks like overall. I'm showing you guys the Spider-Man game because I'm the best Spider-Man fan. Here we have the infamous Marvel logo. So let's play some Spider-Man. Spider-Man does whatever a spider can. Can he swing from a web? No, he can't. But he can swing on it. I just said he can't, so I'm lying. So yeah, fun little game, isn't it? Now to answer the second part of your question, what introduced me to the gaming community was actually Call of Duty World at War. I felt all the games after that went downhill from there. But yeah, Call of Duty World at War, I first played online, loved it. That's all that can be said. That's what introduced me to the online gaming community. that's about it. I hope I entertain you for this long amount of time, which will be trimmed to a very smaller amount of time with my editing skills. Right? So if there's anything else you want to know about me, put it in the comments of the video. I'll put it in the next episode of my Q&A. So if you have a question to ask me, anything, just post it in the comments of my Q&A. So I'm gonna go ahead and let you post those questions for episode 2, if you want an episode 2, that is. I hope you enjoyed this episode of my Q&A, and I look forward to making more if you want me to make more. So go ahead and type that comment, and I'll see you guys in my outro. Flash speed activate!